All right, so today we're diving deep into this really cool world of glutamate receptors.
Yeah.
These tiny little proteins that are basically running the show up in our brains.
Right.
And we've got this article here from Assay Genie called Understanding Glutamate Receptors.
Nice.
And it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's packed with all sorts of insights about how these little guys control everything.
Everything.
From like learning and memory to pretty serious neurological conditions.
Absolutely.
Have you ever had that feeling like when you finally like grasp a new idea and it just clicks?
Totally.
Yeah, that's probably thanks to your glutamate receptors working their magic.
That's right.
Doing their thing. It's pretty amazing.
The thing is, we're not just talking about one type of receptor. It's like a whole family reunion in there.
Oh, wow.
We got ionotropic glutamate receptors, metabotropic glutamate receptors, each with their own unique way of getting things done.
So it's like not just one light switch in the brain.
Oh.
It's like a whole control panel.
Yeah.
With like dimmer switches and buttons.
Yeah, and maybe even a disco ball.
For those like really creative thoughts.
For those really out there thoughts, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so think of the ionotropic glutamate receptors, or mGluRs, as the switches that directly open up ion channels.
Okay.
These are the fast-acting players.
Okay.
Like AMPA, NMDA, and Kainate receptors.
Okay.
Glutamate binds to them, and boom, ions flow.
Wow.
Setting off a rapid electrical signal.
Okay, so like when you slam on the brakes
Yes.
to avoid like a squirrel in the road?
Exactly.
Those are the ones.
Those are the ones for that lightning-fast reaction.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Now, on the other hand, we have the metabotropic glutamate receptors,
Oh, okay.
or mGluRs.
Got it.
These are the ones that trigger a more complex cascade of events inside the cell,
Interesting.
instead of just flipping a switch.
Okay.
They set off a chain reaction that can have longer-lasting effects on neuronal activity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if mGluRs are like the sprinters,
Yes.
then the anglers are like the marathon runners
You got it.
of the brain.
That's a great way to put it.
Just kind of like subtly influencing things behind the scenes.
Exactly. And this difference in how they operate is key to understanding their distinct roles in various brain functions.
Interesting.
Think of it like this.
Yeah.
Your brain needs both the quick reflexes of a sprinter and the endurance of a marathon runner to handle everything it does.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've got these two teams of glutamate receptors, each with their own special skills.
Right.
But how do they actually affect our day-to-day lives?
Yeah.
What are they doing in there that makes us wellness?
Well, let's start with NMDA receptors.
Okay.
They're like the architects of memory.
Oh, wow.
Imagine you're learning a new language. As you practice and repeat those phrases, NMDA receptors are busy strengthening the connections between neurons involved in that process.
So they're like building a bridge in your brain?
It's like they're building a sturdy bridge in your brain that allows information to flow more efficiently.
So the more you use that bridge,
Yes.
the stronger it gets.
Exactly.
And the easier it becomes to recall,
Uh-huh.
like those Spanish verbs you've been struggling with.
Precisely. And that's what we call synaptic plasticity.
Oh, wow.
The ability of synapses,
Okay.
those connections between neurons,
Mm-hmm.
to change their strength based on experience.
So that time I aced that history test in high school.
Yeah,
It was thanks to my NMDA receptors.
exactly.
Laying down some serious neural pavement.
That's right.
I wish I could have thanked them back then.
But it's not all about NMDA receptors.
Oh.
AMPA receptors are also essential
Okay.
for learning and memory, especially when it comes to those quick-fire responses and the encoding of new information.
Got it.
They're like the efficient messengers,
Okay.
rapidly relaying signals between neurons.
So they're making sure the message gets from point A to point B
Yes,
quickly and accurately.
like a super-fast postal service for the brain.
That's awesome.
And then we have kainate receptors.
Okay.
Their roles are a bit more complex,
Okay.
but they're thought to fine-tune neuronal activity
Interesting.
and modulate synaptic transmission.
Okay.
Think of them as the fine-tuners,
Got it.
making sure the orchestra of neural activity is playing in perfect harmony.
All right, so we've got the architects, the messengers, and the fine-tuners.
Yeah.
Sounds like a well-organized team effort
Yeah.
happening inside our heads.
It is.
But what happens when this dream team starts to have some internal conflicts?
That's when things can get a little tricky. And we start seeing links to various neurological disorders.
Oh, no.
When glutamate receptors don't function properly, it can disrupt the delicate balance of brain activity, leading to a whole host of issues.
So like a symphony orchestra, where one section starts playing out of tune, and suddenly the whole performance is thrown off.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Okay, so let's talk about some of those specific conditions. You mentioned Alzheimer's disease earlier. How do glutamate receptors play a role there?
Well, in Alzheimer's disease, we see a decline in the function and number of NMDA receptors, particularly in areas of the brain, crucial for memory and learning.
So it's not just about the receptors malfunctioning.
Oh, right.
It's also about their numbers dwindling.
Yeah, like a team slowly losing its star players.
Oh, that's sad.
And this loss of NMDA receptors contributes to the cognitive decline and memory impairments we see in Alzheimer's patients.
That's heartbreaking. Yeah. And what about schizophrenia? How do glutamate receptors fit into that puzzle?
Research suggests that schizophrenia might be linked to NMDA receptor hypofunction. Meaning these receptors aren't as active as they should be.
So in this case, it's like the volume's been turned down.
That's a good way to think about it.
On those NMDA receptors, making it harder for the brain to process information clearly.
And then we have epilepsy, which often involves excessive glutamate receptor activity, leading to an overexcitation of neurons.
So it's like a sudden surge of electricity, overloading the system, causing those circuits to misfire.
And this brings us back to the concept of excitotoxicity, where excessive glutamate signaling can actually damage and kill neurons.
So too much of a good thing can be bad even when it comes to brain chemicals.
Yeah.
But amidst all this talk about the downsides, is there any hope on the horizon? Are there any potential treatments being developed that target glutamate receptors?
Absolutely. Scientists are working hard.
That's good.
To develop drugs that can specifically target different subtypes of glutamate receptors.
Wow.
Aiming to either enhance or dampen their activity.
So it's like trying to find the right tool to adjust the settings on those intricate brain circuits.
You're absolutely right. It's like trying to adjust the settings on a complex piece of machinery without accidentally throwing the whole thing off balance.
So finding that sweet spot where you can effectively target the problem area.
Precisely.
Without disrupting the delicate harmony of the entire system.
And that's why researchers are focusing on developing drugs that are highly selective for specific subtypes of glutamate receptors and specific brain regions.
It's like having a specialized toolkit for each neurological condition, allowing for more targeted and effective treatments.
And as we delve deeper into the intricate world of glutamate receptors, we're gaining a better understanding of these delicate mechanisms and uncovering new avenues for therapeutic interventions.
Well, before we get too carried away with the future of glutamate receptor research, let's take a moment to recap what we've covered so far. It's been a whirlwind tour of these tiny but powerful proteins.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's always helpful to pause and consolidate our understanding.
We started by exploring the two main families of glutamate receptors. Ionotropic receptors, which are those fast-acting ion channels, and metabotropic receptors, which trigger those complex signaling cascades. We learned that each subtype plays a specific role, from rapid synaptic transmission to memory formation, and the fine-tuning of neural activity.
And we delved into the intricate world of signaling pathways, highlighting how the activation of glutamate receptors sets off a chain reaction of molecular events that can have long-lasting effects on neuronal communication.
We also discussed how the brain regulates the activity of these receptors to maintain a delicate balance, and how dysregulation of glutamate signaling can contribute to various neurological disorders.
And finally, we touched upon the exciting possibilities of targeting glutamate receptors for therapeutic purposes, highlighting both the challenges and the immense potential of this field of research.
You know, it really makes you appreciate those everyday moments.
It does.
Like remembering a friend's birthday, picking up a new skill, even just recognizing a familiar face.
Right.
All that is powered by these tiny glutamate receptors.
It is.
Working tirelessly in the background.
Amazing, isn't it?
It's incredible to think there was a time when we had no idea they even existed.
We've come a long way.
It's like we're peeling back the layers of an onion, except instead of tears, we get these mind-blowing insights into how we think, learn, and experience the world.
Yeah, and the thing is, we're just scratching the surface.
Oh, really?
There's still so much we don't know.
Like what?
How these receptors interact, right? How their activity changes throughout life, and how we can harness their potential to treat diseases.
It's a bit humbling, isn't it?
It is.
Realize how much is happening inside our heads that we're completely unaware of.
It really is.
But it also fills me with a sense of wonder and possibility.
Imagine the breakthroughs waiting to be discovered. Ways to boost cognitive function in healthy individuals. Develop personalized treatments for neurological disorders.
Wow.
Maybe even repair damaged brain circuits.
That would be amazing.
It would.
It's a future full of potential.
Absolutely.
And it all stems from understanding those fundamental building blocks, like those incredible glutamate receptors.
Exactly.
So next time you have that aha moment, when you grasp a new concept or remember a cherished memory, take a second to appreciate those tiny gatekeepers working diligently in your brain.
That's right. Shaping your thoughts and experiences.
It's a reminder that even the most complex aspects of who we are can be traced back to these intricate molecular interactions.
That's the beauty of neuroscience, isn't it?
It is.
Unraveling the mysteries of the brain to understand the essence of what makes us human.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of glutamate receptors.
I hope you enjoyed it.
We hope you've enjoyed exploring this fascinating landscape within your own mind.
And I encourage you to continue learning about this ever-evolving field.
Definitely.
The more we understand about how our brains work, the better equipped we'll be to unlock our full potential and address those challenging neurological conditions that affect so many lives.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Until next time, keep those synapses firing.
Keep them firing. And those glutamate receptors working hard.
Work hard, little guys.
You're